You feel it, don't you? The exhaustion, the stagnation. You spend your days smiling, shaking hands, attending every gathering, and replying to every message, desperate to be the good person, the liked person. Yet, despite your endless charm, you feel powerless. You are stuck. Here is the problem we are going to solve today. You are trading your power for popularity. You believe that being sociable is a virtue. I am here to tell you that it is a strategic error that is costing you your future. Let us begin with the first and perhaps most fatal error you commit daily. You believe, in your naive sentimentalism, that being present is a gift. You believe that by showing up to every event, answering every call on the first ring, and replying to every message within seconds, you are proving your loyalty. You think this makes you a good friend, a reliable partner, a good person. You are wrong. In the brutal calculus of power, you are merely proving that your time has no value. Consider the basic laws of economics that govern the world. What happens when a government prints too much currency? Does the population suddenly become rich? No. The value of the currency plummets. It becomes worthless paper, fit only to be swept into the gutters. This is what you are doing to your own soul. You are printing too much of yourself. You are flooding the market with your presence until the people around you, your friends, your colleagues, even your family, subconsciously mark down your value to zero. Think of the people you respect the most. Think of the people who actually intimidate you, or those whose approval you desperately crave. Are they the ones sitting by the phone, waiting for it to light up? Are they the ones who say yes to every trivial coffee meetup or half-baked plan? No. They are the ones who are hard to reach. They are the ones whose calendars are mysteries. They are the ones who, when they finally do grace a room with their presence, because the energy to shift, because they are rare. You must understand that human beings are wired to despise what is easily obtained. It is a dark truth of our psychology that we do not value the air we breathe until we are choking. As long as you are freely available like the air, you will be consumed without a second thought, and you will be forgotten the moment you leave the room. You are treating yourself as a utility, a commodity that is always there on the shelf, and commodities are replaced the moment a cheaper or shinier version comes along. When you are too sociable, you remove the element of imagination from your relationships. The most powerful tool a strategist has is the mind of his opponent. If you are always there, chattering away, telling them everything you did that day, complaining about the weather, laughing at their mediocre jokes, they see you in high definition. They see your flaws. They see your insecurities. They see that you are just as ordinary and mundane as they are. Familiarity does not breed affection. As the old proverb rightly warns, familiarity breeds contempt. By contrast, consider the power of absence. When you withdraw, you create a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does the human social instinct. When you stop texting back immediately, when you decline an invitation without offering a stumbling, apologetic excuse, simply stating that you are unavailable, you disrupt their pattern. Suddenly, they begin to think about you. They wonder what you are doing. They wonder who you are with. They wonder if they have offended you. You have taken up residence in their mind, rent-free, simply by not being there. You have likely felt the exhaustion of maintaining your current social pace. That is the energy tax of high supply. You are running around like a servant, trying to please everyone, terrified that if you say no, you will be disliked. This is the behavior of a peasant, not a prince. A prince knows that his favor is a limited resource. He distributes his time with calculation, not charity. By starving the market of your presence, you turn every interaction into a transaction where you hold the leverage. When you are always present, you are also easily manipulated. People know exactly where you stand. They know your schedule. They know your triggers. You are a book written in large print that anyone can read. To be a better person, a more powerful person, you must become a closed book. You must learn to wrap yourself in a shroud of isolation. This is not about being a hermit. It is about being a prize. Stop answering the phone. Let it then ring. In that waiting period, your value rises. When you finally do speak, your words will carry more weight because they have been waited for. If you speak 10,000 words a day to anyone who will listen, your words are noise. If you speak 100 words a day and you choose them carefully, your words are law. You must ruthlessly cut down your availability. You must look at your calendar and slash the engagements that do not serve your higher purpose. You must become comfortable with the silence, and more importantly, you must become comfortable with making others uncomfortable with your silence. The sociable man seeks validation from the herd. He needs their laughter and their nods to feel alive. The powerful man validates himself in the shadows. He does not need the crowd. The crowd needs him. and they will only realize they need him when he is gone. You must be willing to be missed. You must be willing to let people be disappointed. You must realize that your time is the only asset you can never recover. Every hour you spend nodding along to a conversation you don't care about is a slice of your life you have burned on the altar of mediocrity. Stop printing more money. Stop devaluing your stock. Cap the supply. Make them work for a moment of your time. Make them earn your attention. Because if you give it away for free, you are telling the world exactly what you are worth, and the world will treat you accordingly. We have established that excessive presence destroys your social currency. Now, we must turn our gaze inward, to the architecture of your defense. You see your friendly, open demeanor as an invitation, a sign of trust. I see it as a fool's errand, a wide-open gate to a poorly guarded fortress, inviting any vagrant or enemy to walk right in. This is the catastrophic cost of being too sociable, the open fortress. Every casual conversation, every drunken confession, every off-end complaint shared in a moment of social ease is a brick removed from your wall. You are not building camaraderie, you are supplying ammunition. When you socialize freely, you are not simply exchanging pleasantries, you are engaging in an involuntary, high-stakes reconnaissance mission run by the very people you call friends. You must internalize this truth. Every person you encounter, whether they smile or sneer, is operating primarily in their own self-interest. They are constantly, if unconsciously, assessing your utility, your weak points, and the information they can exploit should your interests ever diverge. And they will diverge. When you are sociable, you drop your guard and speak without the calculated reserve necessary for survival. You reveal the levers and pulleys that govern your emotional machine. You give them the map to your fears. Consider the man who, after a few too many glasses of wine at a holiday party, passionately describes his plan to overthrow his boss and start his own venture. He thinks he is sharing a dream. His listener, perhaps a well-meaning acquaintance, is suddenly armed with knowledge. Should that listener later seek a promotion at the same firm or harbor a secret jealousy, the vulnerability shared becomes a strategic liability, a quiet word whispered to the right person. Did you know your name is planning to leave and take the accounts? And your plan is strangled in the crib. The sociable man is undone not by his enemies, but by the casual indiscretion of his own tongue. The fortress of the powerful must be silent and inscrutable. You must present a facade so seamless, so lacking in observable weakness, that others hesitate to even test its walls. Sociability demands transparency. It demands that you reveal opinions, allegiances, and private anxieties. This transparency is suicide. To reveal your hopes is to show where the dagger must go to cause the deepest wound. To reveal your fears is to hand them the chains to bind you. The strategic mind knows that the best defense is the ambiguity of intention. Let people speculate. Let them debate amongst themselves whether you are preparing for war or for peace. The moment you are overly sociable, you clarify your intentions, and a clear target is always easier to hit. You trade strategic mystery for momentary, shallow connection. It is the worst exchange possible. Furthermore, the sociable life is built on emotional exposure. You are expected to be vulnerable, to share your hurts and your triumphs equally. This is emotional bankruptcy masquerading as intimacy. True power lies in emotional austerity. When you control your reactions, you control the room. The sociable man, who wears his heart on his sleeve, can be manipulated by a gentle compliment or a stinging insult because his reactions are predictable. The man who guards his emotional state is unreadable. When they cannot make you laugh or make you angry, they cannot control you. Every word spoken in a social context must be viewed as an expenditure of diplomatic capital. Are you spending that capital to gain an asset, like a critical piece of intelligence, or are you squandering it on validation? The person who speaks the most in a group setting is usually the one who is least secure. He is trying to fill the void with noise, and in doing so, he is broadcasting his desperation and his need for external approval. To survive, you must cultivate the art of calculated withdrawal. You must learn to sit in a room and offer only carefully calibrated silence. Let others expose themselves. Let them argue their points until they reveal their biases and their limitations. You are there to observe, to gather intelligence, to note the alliances and the feuds. The overly sociable man is too busy performing to notice the subtle power dynamics shifting around him. He is the actor on the stage, while the man of strategic silence is the director, controlling the lighting and the outcome. In your pursuit of being liked, you have mistakenly believed that openness inspires trust. It does not. It inspires opportunity. The opportunity for others to find your pressure points. Your sociability is merely a sign that you have not learned the fundamental rule of self-preservation. Never teach others how to hurt you. seal the walls, bolster the defenses. The secrets of your ambition and the vulnerabilities of your private life are not fodder for a conversation. They are the treasures of the state, and you must protect them with calculated, austere silence. Your fortress must be impregnable. We have explored the devaluation of your presence and the suicidal risk of revealing your strategic hand. Now we turn to the most tangible, most measurable cost of your insistence on being everywhere, known by everyone as the ruin of your focus. We call this strategic liability the energy tax. You believe sociability is recreational, a necessary release from the strain of work. This is a comforting delusion. Every social encounter is in reality a high-interest loan taken out against your intellectual and creative reserves. When you pay this tax constantly, you leave yourself spiritually, mentally, and creatively bankrupt. Consider your mind not as an endless resource, but as a meticulously organized vault of focused energy. This vault contains the capital necessary for deep work, for strategic planning, for the arduous, lonely pursuit of mastery that actually differentiates the sovereign from the subject. Every single time you engage in superficial sociability, the endless checking of messages, the forced pleasantries, the listening to trivial grievances, the effort of maintaining a facade of enthusiasm, you are opening that vault and letting small amounts of your precious capital leak out. The cumulative effect of this leakage is devastating. True ambition, the kind that reshapes industries or alters history, requires long, unbroken stretches of intense, solitary concentration. It demands that you immerse yourself so fully in a challenge that the outside world ceases to exist. But the socially available person cannot achieve this state. They are constantly interrupted, constantly pulled back to the surface by the nagging obligation to respond, to attend, to perform sociability. They live in a state of perpetual, low-level distraction. The moment you say yes to a frivolous lunch or a casual evening out, you are not just committing 3 hours of your evening. You are destroying the day before and the day after. The anticipation of the social obligation fractures your focus in the hours leading up to it, and the emotional and mental recovery from that interaction. Absorbing other people's drama, dealing with the shallow emotional residue, scrambles your thoughts for the hours following it. You are not spending time, you are destroying continuity. The most dangerous parasites in your life are not malicious enemies, they are the amiable acquaintances who simply want a piece of your time. They are, unconsciously, energy vampires. They do not want to discuss grand strategy, they want to complain about their job, recap a television show, or seek validation for their own lack of initiative. They extract your most potent asset, your high-quality attention, and give you nothing but emotional residue in return. The powerful, strategic mind understands that solitude is not punishment. It is the laboratory where power is manufactured. The hours you spend alone, shielded from the noise and the demands of others, are the hours in which you advance your own agenda, study your competitors, and refine your craft. When you opt for the quick, easy dopamine hit of social approval, you are trading the monumental rewards of disciplined, singular focus for the fleeting satisfaction of a pat on the head. Furthermore, sociability is the enemy of clarity. When you are constantly talking and interacting, you are reacting to the ideas and pressures of others. Your opinions become malleable. Your goals become blurred by the conflicting desires of your peers. The truly strategic vision requires silence, deliberate withdrawal into a mental space where the only voice you hear is your own, uncorrupted by external noise. The sociable man is always taking dictation from the crowd. The master is writing his own script. To reclaim your sovereignty, you must treat your focus as the ultimate, non-renewable resource it is. You must become ruthless in guarding your time, employing a strategic, cold no as your first line of defense. Decline the events that offer no tangible, strategic return. Ignore the notifications that do not pertain to your grand plan. Starve the parasitic relationships that feed on your energy. The cost of this constant social taxation is paid not just in lost productivity, but in the slow decay of your ambition. You become so adept at the quick, easy communication necessary for socializing that you lose the capacity for the grueling, difficult thought necessary for creation. You become a good conversationalist instead of a good builder. You become popular instead of powerful. And eventually, you will look back on years spent in a whirl of pleasant, forgettable interactions, realizing that the ambition you once held has been blood dry by the 1,000 tiny cuts of social obligation. You have traded mastery for mere acquaintanceship. We have cataloged the 3 preceding strategic blunders: the devaluation of your presence, the reckless exposure of your secrets, and the depletion of your vital energy. Now, we arrive at the most profound deception that the sociable mind accepts as truth: the belief that a wide social circle equates to a secure base of power. We shall dismantle this comforting lie and expose the chilling reality, the illusion of alliance. The sociable man mistakes acquaintanceship for loyalty. He believes that because he has 100 people he can call friend, he possesses 100 resources, 100 shields. This is the folly of confusing quantity with quality, popularity with influence. In the brutal theater of ambition, a crowd of acquaintances is not an army, it is merely an audience waiting for your inevitable failure. In times of true crisis, when your reputation is attacked, your position is threatened, or your fortune turns sour, you will find that the 100 people you entertained are nowhere to be seen. They will scatter like rats from a sinking ship, paralyzed by their own self-preservation. Why? Because you expended your efforts on being liked by many, rather than being respected, or better yet, needed by the essential few. True alliance is a cold contract, founded on mutual benefit and reciprocal fear, not on shared lauder and emotional affinity. You are not seeking friends, you are seeking strategic partners whose welfare is demonstrably tied to your own success. The sociable man, however, is busy seeking validation. He seeks people who will assure him he is kind, pleasant, and worthy. He surrounds himself with those who confirm his current, mediocre status, not those who will bleed for him when the real battle begins. The core weakness of the illusion of alliance lies in its lack of investment. When you spread your time and affection thinly across a large, loose network, no single individual feels a profound, personal stake in your destiny. They are mildly fond of you, perhaps, but mild fondness is a useless currency in the face of danger. It does not move armies. It does not silence critics. It does not secure funds. Furthermore, a large social network is strategically cumbersome. It is an entanglement of conflicting interests and competing loyalties. The moment you need to act decisively, you must first spend valuable time navigating the emotional landscape of your vast network, ensuring no one is offended, placating the jealous, and explaining your moves to the confused. This burden of consensus cripples swift action. The successful strategist maintains a small, tight circle, a disciplined core whose members understand that silence, speed, and shared profit are the only metrics that matter. When you are overly sociable, you are also making yourself vulnerable to the enemy's most potent strategy, triangulation. In a large network, your interests inevitably clash with those of another member. Your enemies do not need to attack you directly. They merely need to find the weakest, most resentful link in your supposed alliance and feed them a piece of tempting gossip or a strategic misalignment. They will then use your own friend to undermine you, all while maintaining plausible deniability. The more widely you cast your net, the more holes you create in your defense. Your goal must be to transition from seeking affection to cultivating interdependence. Stop trying to make people like you and start making people rely on you. An ally is not someone who enjoys your company. An ally is someone whose own victory is impossible without your direct involvement. This shifts the dynamic from sentimental obligation, which fails under pressure, to cold, rational necessity, which endures war and recession. The price you pay for the illusion of alliance is the failure to identify and cultivate those indispensable few. You spend your finite resources on the periphery, nodding and smiling, while the true centers of power and the true strategic partners remain unengaged because they perceive you as a frivolous personality rather than a formidable, focused asset. Therefore, you must practice a calculated purge. Examine your contacts list with the ruthless eye of a military commander. Who is an asset? Who is a liability? Who is merely an ornament? Sever ties with those who do not actively contribute to your ascent. Invest your limited time and resources only in those relationships that yield specific, measurable strategic returns. Let the crowd clamor for your attention. You must reserve your conversation for the architects who are ready to build the empire alongside you. Do not be seduced by the warmth of the crowd. The sun shines brightest on the one who stands alone on the peak. We have walked through the ruins of your misguided strategy. You now see the wreckage caused by your obsession with being liked. You have learned that by offering your presence freely, you committed the inflation of presence, turning the gold of your time into worthless paper. You must embrace scarcity, creating a vacuum that forces the world to value your rare appearance. You have witnessed the danger of the open fortress, understanding that every casual word is a strategic misstep, supplying ammunition to those who will eventually become your rivals. You must seal your lips, guard your mind, and make your intentions a terrifying mystery. You have felt the drain of the energy tax, realizing that the demands of the crowd bleed your focus and bankrupt your ambition. You must reclaim your solitude, treating your concentration as the sacred, indispensable fuel for mastery. And finally, you have exposed the illusion of alliance, recognizing that 100 acquaintances are worth less than one indispensable partner. You must stop seeking affection and start cultivating interdependence, forging contracts based on necessity, not sentiment. The choice before you is stark: continue to chase the shallow, exhausting approval of the many, condemning yourself to a life of noise and mediocrity, or embrace the austere discipline of the few. Greatness is not found in the throng, it is forged in the silence of calculated withdrawal. The path to being a better person, a more powerful, effective, and sovereign person, is a lonely one. Turn off the noise. Sever the ties that bind you to the trivial. Step back from the light and into the shadows where true work is done. Begin your purge now.